Hello and welcome to my first installment of a series I wish to call Fantastic Bugs and Where to Find Them. And today I am looking for a very particular longhorned beetle, namely the Timberman beetle, which I've conveniently forgotten the Latin name of, but I'll put it on screen because it's very long and complicated. Now this beetle prefers coniferous forests in Central to Northern Europe, and it's a fairly large one. It varies from 10 to 20 centimeters in size, but they also have extraordinary, or the males at least, have extraordinary long antennae, which are very pretty to look at. We got a pine borer beetle there, I believe it's called. The Timberman is fairly common in general, at least here in Sweden. It's a bit more uncommon down here in southern Sweden because we don't have that many coniferous forests with the pine and spruce. But if you are in an area where there are especially like this, like freshly logged trees, they're fairly common and easy to spot. But they are very well camouflaged, even though their size can be quite big. So what I'm hoping to do is to find some and do some macro photography of them. Oh, actually, here's one. And can I get rid of this? No. It isn't sitting very nice for photography. And let's see if I can. Now, I'm not a very good flash photographer or macro photographer yet. Still have a lot of practice to do. Let's see if we can actually get. Oh, sorry, little guy. I just want you to be more visible for the camera. Now I want to see if I can actually get the entire beetle. Well, I didn't get the. I don't want to climb on this, but let's see. So this is a male, and you can fairly easily tell because, well, its antennae is really large, or long rather, and it doesn't have the egg laying part in the back. I'm gonna say because usually you can spot quite many of them. So I figured we might as well just walk around here, and hopefully one is sitting a bit better. Maybe we can find a female. Would be nice. What is confusing about the Timberman beetle, in my opinion, is just how much it can vary in size. You can have these like really tiny individuals, but then also these huge ones. I don't know if there is any research on that. Oops. I'm getting distracted by the woodpecker. But anyway, as I mentioned, these guys prefer these fairly freshly chopped down logs. Never mind the booming sounds, that's just the Swedish military, I believe. Having some sort of military practice. As you can see, there are quite many of these piles of chopped down wood, so I'm sure we'll have plenty of time to find some more. If we're lucky, we find one that's in a bit better position. Well, there's I believe they're called pine borer beetles. They're also a longhorn beetle, even though they don't really look like it. Let's see if I can get one on the side here. Could be nice. Yeah, I think that turned out quite nice. Obviously, I won't know until I put them in the post-processing. But I can't do that out here. And if anyone is wondering where I am, I'm currently in Bomsfure, it's called. It's fairly in the center of Skåne, the most southern province in Sweden. It's a very good location for the golden oriole, if anyone is into birding, which I am. I was actually a bit further into the woods before I started recording, listening to 3 individuals singing. I didn't see them. They're unfortunately quite skittish, so, and you're not really allowed to walk into the forest right now because of various deers, like fallow deer, having their babies right now, so you're only allowed to walk along the road and close to it, so can't really go in and look for them. Okay. It looks like we're gonna have to go further down the road. So I'm gonna pack my things and start walking. Now what's nice with the Timberman is that they're active during the day. So no need to walk out during the night to try to find them. Makes things a lot easier. I also forgot to mention that they're a fairly early species, at least here in Sweden, or the adult male, or the adults rather. They usually hatch around May and then become fairly difficult to find in June. So it's really during this time that it's the best, because right now it's basically mid-May. Don't know if it's worth going through birch when there's this much pine just lying around. What's also nice is that mosquitoes haven't really started showing up yet. You don't have to worry about having mosquito spray and stuff. I also heard the black woodpecker while packing my things, so maybe we'll see that. It's always a pleasure to see it. It is, after all, our largest woodpecker species. And it's a very important species. If you're into ecology, you're most likely aware of what a keystone species is. But if you're not, it is essentially a species that is very beneficial to many other species. So what the black woodpecker does is that every year they basically dig out new holes in trees that they use to breed. And a lot of other bird species use previously or older holes as their nesting grounds. So, for example, like the tawny owl likes to use them. So, if you have black woodpeckers, you basically increase the chances of tawny owls being able to breed in the future. And that's a good thing. We want biodiversity. A wide range of species tends to signify a healthy environment. Lots of ants. It's also interesting with how it's obviously difficult to transfer feelings through videos, but you can really feel how much chillier or cooler it is because all of the night air gets caught in between these logs, even though it's like almost 20 degrees outside. It's getting quite chilly. Just walking past them. And then now it's warm again. Oh look, we've found 2 more males, it seems. Let's see if we can... This one is at least... I don't really like that angle. Obviously they are very well camouflaged. That's better. Let's see if we can actually find a female. Now I'm not familiar with the sex ratios of Timberman beetles, unfortunately. And whether males or females are more common or if it's about 50-50. I have to admit that I'm fairly lucky, and even though I wasn't expecting it to be this easy to find them, even though they are fairly common. I mean, I am aware that I could do some more manipulation, I guess, with turning them and stuff, but I don't really like doing that. It's, I want to try to minimize how much I disturb animals in general. Not to say that I'm not without fault, but it is more about appreciating nature than getting the best possible picture, at least in my opinion. Because I feel like I feel like you'll open a whole big can of worms getting used to just moving beetles and stuff. Oh, we found a female. It's put itself in a very poor position. Let's see if I can actually... I don't know how well... No, it doesn't. But it's right there. So that is the female egg-laying part. Let's see if I can... I wonder if it is laying eggs. It's quite possible that it is, actually. Obviously, what's unfortunate, none of these individuals will probably hatch because all these logs are being sent away. Because I don't think they'll be laying here for a year. Let's see if I can get an overarching picture of this pine borer beetle. I believe that's what they're called. Otherwise I'll ignore my words. And look at what I wrote on the screen. Very nice. There are actually some other beetles crawling around. Oh, it's conveniently called ant beetle. Oh, we've got a mating pair here. Let's see if they'll stop. So what's cool about these guys is that they have a mimicry of ants, which means that they look very similar to them. Presumably it's to discourage some form of predation. That was not good. No, sit still. Don't move. There we go. Struggling with this. There we go. Not the best pictures, but I can finally breathe again. I'm gonna have to practice my macro photography techniques. And even though I have intrusive thoughts to climb these things, it's not a good idea. Here's one that was sitting a bit more open, but it decided to fall off the log. Great. There is one sitting fairly open. Let's see if I can get this one on frame. Yeah, I can probably light that up a bit. Yeah, so those are ant beetles. Oh, yeah, I can still hear the black woodpecker call. What's fairly nice is that you don't really have to walk around that much to look for these guys. I know that there are some other species that are way more difficult to find. Maybe I'll do an episode of that in the future if I have time. Probably gonna have to get a tent. We'll need to overnight somewhere far away. Greater spotted woodpecker. Got another one of these pine boars. They look really cool. But not as cool as the Timberman beetle, in my opinion. Obviously, everyone has their own preferences. I am looking forward to when the European stag beetle hatches. It's probably it's one of the coolest beetles, at least, in Europe. I'll add that disclaimer because the tropics aren't really fair in the amazing biodiversity that they have. We shouldn't compare though, right? We should enjoy what we have in our local fauna. Was it here that the two males were? I assume oh, there's one. I guess the other one left. Question is, where did it go? Did it decide to put itself in a better place? I doubt it. Well, I think this is gonna be it. I found what I was looking for. I believe I got some nice pictures. So I'm quite happy with that. I'm fairly confident that I can find these Timberman beetles again if I really wished to photograph them again. And after all, in the end, there's always next year, right? So if you enjoyed this, feel free to leave a like, comment, or subscribe. It would be fun to keep doing this, both with insects, but also birds and mammals. So that is what I'm going to try to do. Yeah. Thanks for watching.